Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Today is Monday, which means Ego Monday Mail Day, Boxingego Monday Mail Day, MMD. Put a thumb up next to the questions I'll be answering. There's a lot of questions that I selected, and I'm kind of scared because I don't know how long this is going to be, but I'm going to try to jam through it. I might not be able to spend, since I picked so many, I may not be able to spend as much time on each individual question. Let's go. Let's see where this leads. First question. Wilton Henry asks, number one, how come you don't do a pound for pound list, even if it's based on your own criteria? I just don't think there's a purpose for it. Like, I'm a hip hop fan, and Nas has a song where he said, "Who's the best? Nas, Pac, or Big? Ain't no best." That's how I feel about boxing. How can I determine, like, people are like, oh, all-time great, top 5. How can you determine that? How many great fighters were there? And where do you place them? You know what I'm saying? And I don't do it, especially even if it's my own criteria, because this is what I'm putting out to the atmosphere, and I'd rather just kind of enjoy this sport. Like Muhammad Ali, you could place him very high, but some people, like including myself, I place him so high on the respect list because of what he did, not just in the ring. He was a man of integrity. He stood up for his beliefs, but that doesn't have anything to do with boxing. But I respect that as an icon. I respect him doing those things. So, you know what I mean? It's too subjective. So Muhammad Ali, is he the greatest because he had a good record, fought good competition, lost some of them, but he did all these other things, iconic things outside of the ring? It's like, where do you put these people? And again, there's just too many variables. Weight class. Some guys never move up. Some guys move up multiple weight divisions. Some people, like, let's say Pacquiao. Who's better, Pacquiao or Keith Thurman? Right now, who would you put higher on the pound for pound list? Pacquiao's certainly done more. He has a better resume, and he's been doing this longer, right? Juan Manuel Marquez has a better resume than Keith Thurman, but he's been fighting since like 1993. You know what I'm saying? So it's too many factors, too many weight classes, too many variables to say. Like, usually the top number one person, that's a pretty easy pick, who's the best, because it's like total body of work and stuff like that. But beyond that, when you start to get to 3 and 4, you could really make a case for all these guys, right? Some people have Lomachenko in the top 3, but they don't have Crawford, who, you know what I'm saying? They both have skills. One's undefeated, though. Crawford has a better resume to me, you know what I'm saying, given the competition and who was favored to possibly beat him or challenge him, things like that. So that's why I don't do it. It's just, it's kind of a waste of time, and it would be forever changing because so much happens. Like HBO, they were saying Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez was the pound for pound number 1. Now that he lost, but he lost controversially, do you take him off? You know what I mean? I never had him at number 1, but for HBO, then they removed him, and now they're saying Lomachenko's the dude. And then if he loses, they'll say Golovkin. It's just too much. I'm not doing all that. Number 2, why don't you give Canelo the props he deserves after facing the tough competition in Lara, Trout, Cotto, Mayweather, etc.? No other fighter his age has that type of resume. First of all, don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember when I didn't give Canelo props. Some of you fans, you have this thing where it's like love or hate. Like, if I have any criticism for a certain fighter, it's not going to be equal. If I don't have, like, let's say some people are like, oh, you always praise Terrence Crawford and you never praise Canelo, or you say this. If I have a constructive criticism about Canelo, what the hell does that have to do with Terrence Crawford? You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford's career hasn't necessarily done the same things that Canelo has, and that's the problem with boxing. A lot of fans are too emotional, and they say, I'm not on here accusing people of being on peds, calling them B words and like all kinds of stuff. I state my opinion. Canelo is a good fighter. He's one of my favorites to watch. I like his style and I like his growth. He's learning. But if I have criticism, like him fighting a smaller Amir Khan who had issues with taking a punch in lighter divisions, I didn't think the timing was right. So yeah, I'm going to make a 7 reasons, and I'm going to criticize that fight. Same thing with Liam Smith. Who is he? No one had even really heard of him this side of the pond. So I don't know what you're talking about in terms of I don't give him props. I give him props for what he deserves props for. But if I say like James Kirkland, facts are facts. James Kirkland, he fought him. He didn't have Ann Wolfe. That seems to be the best fit where his style gels with, and to give him the best chance of success against anybody is with Ann Wolfe. We all know that. And he was on a year-plus layoff. These are facts. So some people don't like to hear it, and some people in boxing are too emotional. They live by this whole hate or love. If it's not unconditional love or it's nonstop praise, then they say you hate that person. I give Canelo props for the Trout fight, Cotto. I in fact picked Canelo, and at the time people said I was stupid. They said, oh, Cotto's gonna school this kid, he might even knock him out. Watch, I did a 7 reasons. It's on the channel. And I mean, give him props for Lada fight. I give him props for taking it, but he avoided the fight also for over a year. Lada had been calling him out. It just had the last straw when Lada jumped his ass on the stage and embarrassed Canelo after his win, right? He lost to Mayweather, and I don't think he looked good in that fight. So what am I going to give him props for? I mean, props for being 23 and challenging the best and going the distance, but I mean, I don't understand what you're talking about with that question. Last question, number 3, is Kendrick Lamar overrated? I wouldn't say he is. I mean, he's putting out albums. When he drops them, people feel him. He has bars, he can spit. So he has good production. So I wouldn't say he's overrated. In a short period of time, he's grown on the fans, and he's made some classics. And I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I don't really like this mumble rap stuff. So to me, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. A young talent that can spit, and I like people that are individual. He has that kind of Andre 3000 type of flow or not even flow, but style, where he's willing to try something different. Like, now open your mouth and look at me, Kendrick. Like, you know what I mean? Do these voices and stuff like that. DMX did it. Like, it's me, Mickey. Just do different stuff. Do storylines and tell stories. Nas, another great storyteller. The Rewind track where he started a story from the ending and then went backwards. I like people that take challenges and take risks with their sound, and Kendrick does that, so I don't think he's overrated. I actually haven't listened to his next album, or the damn album, yet. I heard the Heart Part 4 and stuff. He was gassing on that, spitting, but I wouldn't say he's overrated. Next question, Carlos Ortega. If Canelo fought Mayweather now with this new and improved skill set, would you pick him to beat Mayweather? Absolutely not. Right? His best chance would be if he fights Mayweather at a huge weight advantage, like at 160. But we know that wouldn't happen because Floyd Mayweather already beat him. So he's not going to come up to a weight division he's never fought for at age 40 when he's the A side and give in to Canelo's demands like De La Hoya was asking. De La Hoya did an interview or something, and he said, hey, Mayweather, fight Canelo at 160. Why would he fight you at 160? You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? He beat you. And he dominated. So he doesn't even really have to rematch it. The first fight was not worthy of a rematch if you're looking at the fight. Now, if you want to say, oh, the fight in a rematch makes sense or Canelo's improving, yes. But if you look at the fight, that performance from Canelo does not warrant a rematch at all. He did nothing in that. After the 3 rounds, it was the Mayweather show. And that was actually Mayweather's last, like, crazy type. Like, where it's just like, wow, this dude is crazy special to me. Like, I mean, I can't say that because the Pacquiao fight even showed me that, but I'm just saying it was like flawless. It was just a great performance against a good fighter. So I don't think it would be different. Again, Canelo has the best shot at the higher weights because he's clearly bigger. You see him in these recent pictures, he's flexing and stuff, and they're about the same height, but Canelo's clearly bigger. The rehydration, he would clearly be bigger. So that would be Canelo's only chance, father time, and a huge size advantage. But if they fought at like 154, 155, I don't think Canelo. The bottom line is this, and people always do this: styles make fights. And I know it sounds cliche, but it is so true in the sport of boxing. What Canelo struggles with, he has not shown that he's improved to the point where he would beat Floyd Mayweather. And again, I don't. Until otherwise proven, I'm not going to say, oh, Mayweather, father time caught up with him. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't showed in his past. He still has plenty to get it done. You know what I mean? So I can't bank on that. And again, where are the improvements? Canelo's last fight with a similar style was Erislandy Lara, and guess what? That was a fight where some people thought, including myself, thought he lost by a round or two. Competitive, but I thought he lost. He was definitely getting outboxed at first. So you look at it since then. When has he fought somebody who's even remotely similar, right? I guess the next closest would be Amir Khan, and I had Khan winning the first 4 rounds, but it just so happens Khan doesn't always have the best punch resistance, and I don't think Khan's feet are as educated as Floyd Mayweather. Sometimes he stays in the pocket too long, his defense isn't as good as Mayweather, and he got caught and he got knocked out. But other than that, who's he fought? That would make it different. That shows you he's a reinvented, so much different fighter where he would beat Mayweather. And I said this before, the biggest issue, Canelo's a really good fighter, and I think, watch the first fight. I really studied this game. The first fight, Canelo, this was before Cotto and Kirkland and whoever else, the Lotta fight, Floyd fought him, right? I think Floyd underestimated Canelo and thought, oh, I'm about to school this pup. You know what I'm saying? He ain't ready. And then in the first couple rounds, Floyd got really aggressive. But based on what Canelo was doing well in those first 3 rounds, like trying to catch him and counter, he probably felt Canelo's power, and he's seen what Canelo was trying to do. Like he was like trying to catch him. He was trying to box with him. So Floyd eased off the gas, being a smart fighter, instead of doing that throughout the rest, and he got back to just pure boxing, using some movement, standing in pocket, switching it up, and then he started opening up and walking Canelo down, and the rest was ugly. But I think Canelo earned some respect in those first 3 rounds. Mayweather seen he couldn't just go in and dog him straight away. He was gonna have to work for it. You know what I'm saying? Canelo wasn't just I'm a 23-year-old. He wasn't really fighting like a 23-year-old. Like, you know what I mean? Most 23-year-olds, you get in there with Mayweather, you look silly. It takes guys who have been in there with, like, Maidana has a good resume. He's been in there, Eric Morales, Broner, been in there with Victor Ortiz in his prime, stuff like that. So it takes guys like that who are like closer to 30 or have been pros for a while to even look normal. You know what I mean? Robert Guerrero, he's been a fighter for a while, moved up multiple weight divisions, stuff like that. So I think Canelo earned some respect early. But the biggest issue for Canelo beating Mayweather, it was never his power. I think even with the catch weight, his power was there, his strength was there. He could not catch Floyd Mayweather, and his feet are too slow for Floyd Mayweather. And I don't see anything that has changed his footwork. James Kirkland, tailor-made for a guy like Canelo. If you're in his wheelhouse for 12 rounds out of 12, and you're his size, you'll probably get fucked up. That's really what it is. If you mix it up and you incorporate lateral movement and take spots to take stands and walk him down and scramble him, that's different. Like Lotta, he's a good boxer, he's elusive, and we've seen that. You know what I mean? It's just like Danny Garcia versus Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia, you could say whatever in the Keith Thurman, is because Keith Thurman was moving so much. If you don't move like that, like Peterson, and you don't move like Thurman, then Danny Garcia might smoke you. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't seen anything. The stylistic Liam Smith, I mean, doesn't prove nothing. Liam Smith fights nothing like Mayweather. In fact, I don't even know who he had fought other than the Thompson guy for a title. And Thompson, he fought him for a vacant title and stopped him. But Thompson, who's he beat? He just lost after that, and Willie Monroe beat him, and I think knocked him down after that. You know what I'm saying? Who is Thompson? So, no, I don't think Canelo would beat Mayweather. You know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather might even be able to beat him at 160. It's not even worth arguing because I don't know how Floyd would look at 160. Plus, it wouldn't happen. He's not going to fight Canelo when it at his comfort level or whatever, give him massive advantages like that. That's stupid. Next question, Ali Diego 619. Do you think Ward has an easier time with Kovalev in the rematch, or do you think it will be another tough fight? It's hard telling, but I think the winner of this will be more decisive. And I think Ward, just my opinion, I think the thing with Ward is he has another gear, and he showed that in the second fight. He was able to deal with adversity, get back up after the second round knockdown, and work his way back into the fight. And I thought he won the fight, right? And Kovalev did the opposite and gassed out in those championship rounds. He was trying, still game, but it wasn't the same, right? So to me, I think Ward, he just has more tools overall. So I can't say it'll be an easy fight because Kovalev is still game. He can box. He has threatening power. But I think Ward will make more adjustments, and I think he has the ability to make more adjustments than Kovalev. That's just kind of what I see. I think Kovalev fought the fight of his life. Some people thought he won it, but the judges didn't. The three people that matter the most didn't see him winning. And as a result, usually what I've seen in these situations is the guy who can overall do a bit more, they usually can show some separation. He's already won 12 rounds with them. You know what I mean? So all this, oh, he's afraid and stuff. If anything, wouldn't you be afraid fighting this killer when he has the belt and you never fought him before and he has this threatening punching power? Of course. So the fact that Ward tastes his power, got knocked down, he kind of knows what to look for. So I wouldn't say it's an easy fight, but I think Ward can and will make the adjustments. Next question is from Nick Heftman. Ego, keep up the great work. Thank you. Vasil Lomachenko now versus Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather when he was at super featherweight. Who you got? I got to pick Floyd. Pretty Boy was, first of all, some of you guys weren't even watching boxing then, so you're going to be like, what? That's ridiculous. Lomachenko's a hell of a fighter, good fighter. I put people on him. But I'm going against the all the way proven commodity. The fact with Lomachenko is he looks the goods. He has a crazy amateur pedigree. And the reality of it is he has less than 10 fights. So we're judging by a guy, Pretty Boy Floyd. I watched his whole career for 19 years, and I've seen all the Pretty Boy stages, you know what I mean? The Sharmba Mitchells and the Diego Corrales. I've seen all those. Gennaro Hernandez. I've seen all those fights. So I'm not going against the grain with a guy who beat all the people in front of him. And Roberto Garcia did an interview, and he agrees. He's like, I would pick Floyd, right? And I'm not going to go with a guy who has a loss, who seems good, but he only has 10 fights. And styles make fights. You put Lomachenko in, that's how it goes, man. You put Lomachenko in with Nicholas Walters off a long layoff where he gained weight, Jason Sosa, he'll probably look better. Mikey Garcia, that's a different fight. That's why I can't wait to see if they make it. But I'm going with I would go with Floyd Mayweather easily. I think he usually shows the ability to adjust, and what you do versus one guy is not indicative of what you could do with every fighter when that other fighter has a brain and footwork and a skill set too. You know what I'm saying? Floyd's an accurate puncher. And you said Pretty Boy Floyd, that's when he was more dangerous and guys were more his size, right? He's fighting right now, him and Pacquiao both, they fight guys based off of talent level and skill, where they could fight these bigger, much bigger, taller guys and shit like that. But I mean, when he was at Pretty Boy Floyd, he was fighting, except for like Diego Corrales, a lot of those guys were closer to his height and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I would easily pick Floyd. Next question, Gerardo Garcia. Ego, if Canelo were to beat Chavez Jr. and didn't come to terms with Triple G, who do you think would be the best matchup for Canelo in the middleweight aside from Triple G? Very good question. Me personally, I like David Lemieux fight. That's a no-brainer in terms of they're both Golden Boy, should be easy to make. If Lemieux, who's on the undercard of Canelo, Chavez Jr., if he shines and Canelo shines on the same card, that's an easy fit to jump into. Other person, Jamal Charlo, that just moved up to middleweight. Great fight. Canelo has a fan base in Texas. 50,000 plus people went to see him versus Liam Smith. So what do you think will happen if he fights a guy who's based out of Houston and just looked great in his last fight versus Julian J. Rock Williams? So those are the two fights that I like. I don't know if Team Canelo would even want to fight a guy like Daniel Jacobs after what he showed, his height and stuff, and his boxing ability versus Golovkin. But that's the third one, if you need a third one, that I personally would like to see. And I think all those would be entertaining fights too. Gerardo Garcia has another question. Ego, love your videos. Thank you. My question is, if Chavez were to pull a huge upset on Canelo, do you think Canelo would give in to Triple G's counter offers just to stay in the spotlight and make him the most wanted fight at the moment? Or do you think he will curve Canelo and go for a Chavez Jr. fight? And what do you think would happen if Chavez Jr. pulled the upset? If Chavez Jr. pulls the upset, it'll break the internet, because that's what happens in boxing. Ronda Rousey gets knocked out. If the underdog Chavez beats the A1 or A-side star, and Canelo, then it's going to break the internet. There's going to be a ton of memes and stuff, just like when Broner lost. Anytime you have that star power in the spotlight, you lose, it's going to get blasted all over the internet. So that's one thing that will happen. Aside from that, I think it would be a rematch. I'm pretty sure Canelo's team, Golden Boy, Team Canelo, Reynoso's, all of them, I think they would have it written in the contract that there's a rematch clause. I'm not positive, don't quote me on it, but I would imagine with their A side they would put that in there. So I don't think it would even be Golovkin. I don't think Canelo, if he loses Chavez Jr., would go in after Golovkin. That wouldn't even make sense. I think he would go straight after the rematch clause and make a whole ton of money with that. I mean, and you got to understand, in rematches that are controversial and or upsets, then there's a ton of money in the rematch. You know what I mean? Or in first fights that are controversial or they have some controversy, then there's a ton of money in the rematch. So I think that's what would be the next order of business if the upset is done by Chavez Jr. Next question is from Marco Cortez. Do you think Canelo, I was born ready, is going to have a great chance against Triple G even if he wins by decision against Chavez Jr.? Yeah, I mean, if he beat Chavez Jr. and is convincing, I mean, because a decision, just because you win a decision, that doesn't mean you didn't beat up on the guy. But, I mean, it depends what type of decision. Like, if it's a split decision that's controversial and people don't really think Canelo won, then that's something. But if he wins a unanimous decision or knockdowns and then he goes to win a decision or whatnot, then, yeah. Unless it's controversial, that's the only way where it's like, But I told you guys, if Canelo shines in this fight and looks good and wins convincingly, then I really give him an excellent shot to beat Triple G. I think he has more tools. He's more in his prime. He's already tasted defeat, unlike Golovkin. So he's come back stronger. So that's just my honest opinion on the fight. But May 6th, we got to see what happens. Jeffrey Samarin says, do you think Keith Thurman isn't getting the recognition he deserves? When I hear most boxing analysts state their pound-for-pound list, they usually have guys like Golovkin and Roman over him. It depends on who's... If it's like HBO or ESPN, you already know. Triple G lost his fight, in my eyes, to Jacobs, the division's best. Thurman, on the other hand, beat... Well, you guys can read that. I'm not going to read all of it. We know Thurman's accomplishments. Not only did he beat these great fighters, but he completely outclassed Guerrero. He forced a corner stoppage against Collazo and beat Danny in what I saw a clear-cut 116-112. His only tough fight was with Porter. And that's not his only tough fight. Diego Chavez was a hell of a tough fight for me. And I had him winning. I had him winning against Porter too. These were all in his last 5 fights. Who else could compete with that? Definitely not Triple G or Roman. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this whole Triple G. I never put Triple G or Roman in my top 5. I don't even really do a pound-for-pound list, but I never said they were the next coming because... I mean, realistically, both of them hadn't really fought, to me, equivalent competition. I understand Chocolatito, he moved up all these divisions and he was fighting the best in those divisions in terms of like best champions or guys, former champions, stuff like that. But who were they? Like, name the person who was like a Diego Crowless when Mayweather fought him, or Ricky Hatton, or Canelo. Mayweather fought those undefeated fighters. Name someone like that Chocolatito fought. Instead, he was fighting Brian Valorias, a guy who had been stopped before. I think he had 3 or 4 losses. He had fought guys like Arroyo, who was on a year layoff, and I don't think he looked great. He fought Rungvisai and lost. And Rungvisai fought a lot of hometown fights in Thailand or wherever. And he fought a lot of guys in their first. You go to BoxRec, look at it. Their very first fight was with Rungvisai because it says debut. So they were just turning pro and fought Rungvisai. So the best name on Rungvisai's resume was Carlos Cuadras, and that's where he lost his title. So yeah, I never really had them up there. But Thurman, he's definitely quality, and I don't know why people don't give him credit. The only thing that I've said about Thurman is I think he could have done more of what he was doing early, and I didn't really see any imminent danger in doing so versus Danny Garcia, and then that would have made his win more emphatic. But he got the win how he got it, and that it is what it is. The other fights, Collazo, that was a good win. He battled adversity, getting hurt to the body. Guerrero, I thought he dominated him, and Guerrero had a lot to say. Bundu's an Olympian. He beat him before Errol Spence, so I don't have a problem with any of those other ones. I just think he didn't necessarily do himself favors with how he chose to end it, but he stayed safe and he got the victory. Next question, Alvaro Casillas. How do you see a potential matchup between Chavez Jr. and Triple G? And we really got to just wait till May 6th because I got to see how this newfound focus, everything I'm reading, they're saying he's making weight, he's disciplined now. Let me see it. Let me see how he does. Because if he's losing 11 rounds like to Martinez, then Triple G is not the person for you because Triple G is aggressive. But if he looks like he's back and it looks like he's back to the form he was in when maybe even that 12th round for shot versus Matavia or the Andy Lee performance, if it's like something like that, then maybe, because we know what Triple G's weaknesses are now. His last 2 fights proved that. Inside fighting, if you box and move, if he respects your power, stuff like that. Next question is D-Boy206. What's up, Ego? I'm doing this around 6 p.m. on Sunday, so I hope it makes it. But on to my question. With watching your video and being on Team Ego, is there one thing I have learned that is that weight matters? True. Every pound counts when it comes to boxing. So with Loma calling out Mikey Garcia, do you think Loma is a little ahead of himself with calling Mikey out? Let me know how you feel on that. Thank you. Hashtag Team Ego. Keep working, bro. Thank you. Great question. Yes, I think I'm not gonna say he's in over his head because Lomachenko is a definite talent in the sport and he does have skills, but in over his head in the sense of this weight division hopping, I wouldn't recommend that really for anybody. You've seen Andre Ward, who it looked like no one could beat him at 168, and his last fight was with Kovalev just at 175, so he moved up, and it's controversial, and that guy was able to test him. Kovalev was able to test him a lot more than most people at 168. Weight absolutely matters, right? You gotta be smart. So I'm not saying Lomachenko doesn't have a chance, but you don't want to just get ahead of yourself in terms of like, oh, I beat up on Jason Sosa and I Matador and I'm the Matrix and all that. That's great. But Mikey, trust me, I was at his last fight. I talked to him post-fight. He's not a Jason Sosa. I don't think he would. His whole DNA is fighting. He doesn't even want to fight and has made it to this level, right? I interviewed Mikey back in the day, years ago, and he was the most humble dude. And this is when he first became a champion, right? This dude didn't even want to be a fighter per se, and he's still here and he's still like competing. He sparred with Pacquiao and Edwin Valero and top level guys and has gotten championship belts in multiple weight classes. So it's a good fight, but Mikey is the naturally bigger guy, bigger puncher, clearly, and he's a good fighter. So you can't just keep moving up through weight and thinking just every fight is going to be easy because you're dancing around Jason Sosa and jumping in when you want. Mikey, like I said, fighting's in his blood. Big G and his brother Roberto Garcia, Oxnard, having Fernando Vargas in camps and stuff when he's a kid. He's been around it his whole life. So I really don't see him not going out on his shield. Like, let's say Loma was getting off and he just couldn't catch him. He's going to keep trying and try to land something big. I don't see him just like kind of being frozen like Jason Sosa or Nicholas Walters off of a layoff. I just don't see that. So it's a different fight. Mikey clearly has power. And he has a belt, and he's in a good place. Last fight, he says, when I won my first 2 titles, I wasn't really even tripping. He said, but this, I don't know what it is, but I just feel everything. I think it's because of that top rank situation, being on the shelf 2 years. And when you go through something hard, man, when you finally get it, that's how I feel. I mean, I feel Mikey because I had some rough years leading up to YouTube, and I stuck with it, and I had things that weren't working out in my favor, and I wasn't in a good place. I was in a slump, and now that I'm having some success, the brand is growing, I feel like I'm in a good place, and that's how Mikey Garcia was basically stating it. So it's a good fight. I'm not saying Lomachenko doesn't have a shot, but just moving up in weight constantly, it can catch up with you, especially if you feel like people are pushing, oh, Mikey's too slow. Okay, to me, Mikey's a technical fighter, methodical. So it's a good fight, and weight does matter. Next question, Calvin Garcia. If Errol Spence Jr. beats Kell Brook, should he try to look for a fight with Keith Thurman or get some more fights under his belt? And honestly, I'm a real fan of boxing, and I'm a fair critic. If Errol Spence becomes the IBF champion, beats Kell Brook, then I think he's free to either take up a tune-up fight, or if there's a mandatory, even if it doesn't have a huge name, or if he just feels I'm feeling myself and he wants to straight away unify with the champion, I support any of those because I think that's fair. I think that's how you're properly supposed to build a champion. Look at Deontay Wilder. People are like, oh, after Bermane Stiverne, he fought Johan Duhaupas and Eric Molina, but Eric Molina hurt Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? What if he put him in there with Ortiz and then that stopped his championship reign right then and there and he lost? You know what I'm saying? So you got to groom your fighter. They do the same thing with Anthony Joshua. You don't just, that's like Michael Conlon. He's an Olympian. Why don't you put him in there with the champion his first fight? Because it's a process. He has tons of experience. A lot of people thought he got robbed in the Olympics, but you don't put Michael Conlon in there with somebody who's already at the level. It just doesn't make sense. So if Brook is his test, that is his step up. So if he went from Algieri to Bundu to Brook, those are the first two were solid names in the division, and then you beat the champion, then he's free to take a tune-up fight or a feel-good Texas fight or a mandatory, whoever that is in the IBF. Or if you want, like I said, if he wants to straight away go in and go after unification and he's confident, then do that. But you definitely have the ability, to me, to, you don't have to fight tough fight after tough fight after tough fight nonstop. You know what I mean? You'll have no shelf life doing that, even though fans say they want it. Next question, random commenter: why didn't they put Yuri Gambo on the Canelo Chavez Jr. undercard? I don't know. I don't work for Golden Boy, but I mean they're having him fight the day before, May 5th or whatever. So I think that's just like an appetizer, gets people in the mood in the mindset for boxing. So I think it made more sense. Plus their undercard is pretty, I'm not gonna say it's stacked like that, but they got some names on it. They got David Lemieux fighting, they got Lucas Matisse fighting, and they also got Jojo Diaz undefeated versus Manuel Tino Avila fighting. So I mean it's pretty well off even without Gamboa. So it kind of makes more sense to have Gamboa fight the day before and keep him active at least. I'm just happy that he's active, to be honest. He just fought on the Curtis Stevens David Lemieux card, so both him and David Lemieux fought on the same night, and they're fighting on the same night again. So I'm not really going to sweat that that it's not on the undercard. The undercard had enough action. At least he's fighting again, so he can get this ring rust off, and we can maybe see a Lomachenko fight in a couple of fights. Next question, BG Ree. Since you are reluctant on doing a pound-for-pound list, what do you think of Andre Ward's list he did for ESPN Deportes? He didn't include himself on his top 5, but would you? Yeah, I made a video about it. I definitely would have put Ward on it. I think he deserves that. It's even if people are like, oh, but he didn't win the Kovalev fight. Okay, even if you feel that way, which I don't. I was at the fight November 19th, covered it as media, Boxingego, and I thought he won the fight. I can understand some people didn't like it or gave him different rounds or gave Kovalev different. Cool. But the fact is the 3 judges agreed with what I'm talking about, and he is the champion and his body of work. Even if you put the Kovalev fight and you put it in a different column with the asterisks, his body of work still shows you his pedigree. So yeah, I personally would have put him on the top list. You know what I mean? How Roman Chocolatito, he moves up 3 pounds and has really tough fights, and one of them he loses, and arguably he lost to Carlos Cuadras. So Ward at least beat Sullivan Barrera, no issue, who just got a knockout this weekend on HBO Latino, and he just knocked out Golden Boy's prospect Shabransky, who's now sparring Canelo at light heavyweight, right? And Ward knocked him down and beat him. I covered that fight live too at the Oracle in Oakland. So, you know what I mean? It's not like every single light heavyweight fight was tough, like super tough for Andre Ward. Yet Chocolatito, they said he was number 1 pound for pound, and his last few fights have been really tough. I mean, even Brian Valoria, he got hurt in the round he stopped Valoria. And the Arroyo fight, I was at that. That was on the Triple G versus Wade undercard, and I don't think he looked great in that fight. Cuadras was a tough fight, and he looked like Kovalev in the second half. He looked gassed, and he was losing a lot of those later rounds, regardless of Harold Letterman's biased card. Okay, Jim, I gave Chocolatito every round, 13 rounds to nothing. Like Letterman, there's only 12 rounds in this championship fight. I know, I gave him an extra credit point. Like, what are you talking about? Get out of here. Next question, Dakota Clark. How hard is it to ask fighters the tough questions without offending them and possibly them not wanting to do interviews in the future? From what I've done, I haven't really had that problem. I don't really. I talk to people with respect. That's for one. So I don't have to bite my tongue per se. I don't have to. I'm not gonna ask them something crazy like that has nothing to do with boxing. Ask them about their sex life or something. Put them on the spot like that. But to me, that's my job. There's nothing wrong with asking someone a legit question that makes sense that pertains to boxing. So I don't really worry about them being mad at me and not wanting to do an interview. If it's a question that the fans need, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I've seen ESPN when Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao, and we know why the fight didn't happen the first time. Pacquiao didn't want to do a drug test. ESPN, not Brian Custer, whatever the other Brian dude is, Kenny, had Floyd Mayweather, and he was drilling him, and he was blaming Floyd for the fight not happening. So, I mean, you're gonna be mad at me for it. I ask realistic questions. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really worry about that other stuff. Oh, I don't want to do an interview with Ego anymore. You know what I mean? If that's what it is, that's what it is. But I can make money not going to fights. You know what I'm saying? Like just breaking out fights, doing 7 reasons, first look. So I don't really even have to go to fights. I do it for the fans, really. So, and to make my presence felt, so I get to ask the questions I want to, because a lot of the people in the media be asking some stupid, hey, Danny Jacobs, what's your favorite type of Eggo waffle? Like, who cares? Nobody cares about that. Ask him about the Golovkin fight. You know what I mean? Ask him about his amateur. What are you talking about? They be asking retarded stuff. So that's that. Next question is Minhazul Islam. What is the actual height of Canelo, as different coverages say different heights? His listed is 5'10". When he faced Khan, he was shorter than him, and Khan is 5 foot 8.5 inches. Yeah, it's really like wrestling, like WWE wrestling. They'll make the wrestler sound huge. Like they'll be like Kane, who's 7 feet 1, and he weighs 390 pounds. Like he does not weigh that much. You know what I mean? Some of them dudes might, but they embellish on the fighters' like vitals and stuff, and boxing does that too. To me, I've seen Canelo. I'm pretty good with the eye test. I really think he's like 5'7.5". Him and Floyd Mayweather, I think they're listed at like 5'8.5", 5'9", but they don't look 5'9" to me. You know what I mean? Like you see Canelo or Mayweather or something next to girls with heels, and they don't look bigger than them. Usually, most guys, if they're really 5'10", 5'10.5", with the average girls like heels or whatever, they would at least look equivalent height, not shorter. So to me, Canelo looks about 5'7.5" to me. 5'8" maybe. I don't know. Next question, Uriel Dominguez. What up, Ego? My question may be hard to understand since English isn't my best subject, but here it goes. Chavez claims that he is super motivated for the fight and that this time he's doing everything right, quote unquote, unlike before. Do you think it's too late for Chavez? What I mean is, like, do you think one good training camp with him being super focused can make up for lost time? In my opinion, he had potential to be great, but he wasted his gifts. I'd like to hear what you think. Now, actually, that's better than some of the English speaking or the people who English is their only language. I didn't see any problem. That was easy for me to read. But I don't think it's too late. I don't really think it's too late per se for anybody, as long within reason. Some guys it might be too late, like they're getting knocked out all the time. Okay, it might be you might, but Chavez Jr. he got knocked out, but he really did a no mas and kind of quit. So I don't think it's too late. I think he can still be competitive, but I don't know. There's things like I don't have a diagnostic of Chavez. I don't know what he was doing when he wasn't fighting. If he was abusing his body, if he was doing certain things that he shouldn't be doing as a pro level fighter. So it's possible, but it's very hard for me to answer. I don't think overall one camp is going to make you this mercenary or this machine. You can only learn so much in one camp because most of this stuff comes from repetition. So he's going to be ultimately, when the going gets tough, fighters resort back to what they know. So I wouldn't say it's too late, and I'd give him a shot to beat Canelo, to be honest, based on what I've seen. Next question, Sayer 10089 Ego. Why did NBC, ESPN, Spike TV cancel Premier Boxing Champs? Now, I haven't heard about NBC, ESPN. They're working with Golden Boy now. They did a multi-fight deal, so that's probably why. Maybe a conflict of interest. And Spike TV, all they did with they don't have like a contract where they have to give dates, but the spokesperson for Spike said, we have a great relationship with Heyman and PBC series, so if they have the right type of fight, then holla at us. But we're going to focus on our other programming and Bellator. And that they have every right. And it's probably because maybe they get better ratings with Bellator than they do with PBC. Maybe the PBC fights, Broner versus Thea Payne, Sean Porter versus Eric Bonet, maybe those weren't compelling. You know what I mean? Al Heyman has so many outlets in terms of networks and so many different fights. And Showtime has been clearly getting the better of the fight, so that's really Spike TV's option. Maybe they felt like they weren't getting enough of the great fights. They were getting, you know what I mean, Rances Bartholomew versus Mickey Bay or something like that, but they weren't getting enough of the high-profile fights. So now they're probably just want to work on a case-by-case basis, and they're a network, so they have that option. So that's, I don't know why, but that's just my thoughts on it. Next question. Risky831. What do you think about a dream matchup between Tevin Farmer and Vasyl Lomachenko? Love your work, bro. I tune in daily. Thank you for that. It's a good fight. Now, I know Tevin Farmer. Shout out to my dude. Shout out to Philly. And he sparred with Vasyl Lomachenko, I believe, on multiple occasions. So it'd be a great fight. Both talented. Both have technique. Both have, I would say, limited power. And both of them, they got defense. And it'd be a good fight. I would love to even see just the sparring. So if I don't think Lomachenko would be targeting someone he sparred with that doesn't have the biggest name. I think he would try to go after a Tank first, or Terry Flanagan in the other weight class, or Mikey Garcia. But that's just me. If they can make it happen, and the Tevin Farmer's gonna have a hard time getting the fight because of what he does well, and it's hard to look exceptional. Watch the Ivan Redkach fight against him. Hard to look exceptional, and right now his name is not carrying a big enough buzz for people to justify, in their mind, to justify the fight. You're taking a big risk of looking dumb and missing with shots and stuff. Plus, it's not going to be like necessarily your biggest paycheck either. So that's the negative with guys who are super crafty, like the Edeslandi Ladas or Rigondeaux or Farmers, is they can embarrass you and make you look like a career worst. At the same time, their name is not going to give you a Canelo paycheck or whatever. Next question, Dwayne Floyd. Ego, what's good, bro? What up? I'm an Errol Spence Jr. fan, but I question his defense at times. Do you think he can fight off the back foot or off the ropes? We haven't seen anyone back him up yet. That's a good point. We're going to find out. Kell Brook is a technical fighter. They're about equal in size. They're both big, so we'll see. But just a little preview, I don't think people make it into the Olympics with not having any adjustments in their fight game or whatever. So I think Errol probably can do much more than we've seen. But ultimately we don't know. Like Victor Ortiz, he is a very talented, like physical gifts and stuff, size, power, athleticism, very talented. But when the going got tough, Victor Ortiz didn't show heart in those trenches, in those clutch moments. So to me, we have to remain to be seen, but I have confidence that Errol Spence has more than what he's shown. And he looks like Golovkin, I've seen time and time again, he doesn't do good in those spots where people can back him up, even temporarily, right? He freezes, he lets you punch, doesn't counter with you. And although we haven't seen it with Errol Spence, I haven't seen many people effective, so it's a little bit different. So I have faith that Errol Spence can probably do more than what he's had to show, and he might have to show that May 27th against Kell Brook. Next question, BSMI 1361. Do you think Chavez will be weight drained? Certainly a possibility. I can't be certain because it looks like him and his team, Mimo Heredia, Nacho, his dad, they have a in-depth game plan, and they're like getting him along like piece by piece with the weight. But it's definitely a possibility because he hasn't fought at 160s or even close to 160 since the fight with Sergio Martinez, and Martinez is now retired, so that goes to show you how long ago that was. And that actually, the funny thing is, since we're bringing it up how long ago it was, that was the first fight prediction I've ever done on my YouTube channel when this was just a hobby. Now it's my full-time job, so that goes to show you that it was a long time ago, because that was when I was first starting the channel. I was doing music videos and editing, and I was just kind of a lifelong boxing fan, so I just randomly, I don't know what made me do it, but I did a fight prediction on that particular fight, in fact, and I was working a regular job, and I wasn't even really taking this YouTube stuff serious. And then now I'm going to fights and credentials, got a website, and this is my full-time job, full-time income. So it was a while ago. So it's possible Chavez Jr. can definitely be weight trained, but it looks like they're trying their best to make sure that doesn't happen. Next question is life according to Louis 415. Hey Ego, love the channel. Thank you. And thanks for always representing the Bay Area. I'm a San Francisco native myself. I seen that with the 415. Shout out to the 415. Y'all don't know these Bay Area codes. Here's my question. Who do you think has a better resume, Juan Manuel Marquez or Julio Chavez Sr.? Ooh. Personally, I have to say Marquez, but I've talked to many people that disagree. Not taking anything away from Senior, as he is one of the greats, but I just like to hear your take on it. Damn, I didn't even really fully read the question, so I'm on the spot. I would probably say Juan Manuel Marquez. He's fought everybody. You know what I mean? I love, see, this is not going to, some people are going to get mad because that's what they do. It's all about emotion, and they think I'm bashing a fighter if I pick, but I'll explain why I would say Marquez, because Marquez had the learn on the job type of fight too, and he just fought better competition sooner. Like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's a great fighter, and it showed because even after he was like 89-0 or whatever, but who were those 89 guys? But he's still a good fighter because when he did step up, when it was his time to step up, he did it, and he did it well, and he was competitive and beat some of those guys like Meldrick Taylor. I thought he lost to Pernell Sweet Pete Whitaker, but he was at least still competitive with those guys. So he's still a good fighter, but Marquez was fighting better competition sooner, right? Marco Antonio Barrera, Chris John, a guy who'd been in there with Manny Pacquiao in his prime, when no one could deny, and he fought him 4 times. He's been in there with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he clearly has a better resume now that I think about it. Mike Alvarado, he's fought top-notch. Tim Bradley, I mean, he's fought everybody, and he's fought so long that he's fought people in different generations. Like when Chavez got older, he started losing to Costa Zuz and Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I mean? He got X'd out a little bit more. That's just my opinion on it. They're both OGs though. Next question, Mel Amador. What are your thoughts on Chavez Jr. trying to leave camp to go to Mexico City? This was announced on ESPN, and Nacho got mad at Julio and threatened Chavez Jr. he won't be in his corner. Yeah, I talked about it in previous video. Maybe you guys didn't catch it, but it is what it is. It's water under the bridge now. It's a situation that they've made public, and it happened. They got over it, so I'm not really sweating it as long as they were able to come to terms. If they were having this turmoil in the camp and like Chavez disappeared like he was doing to Freddie Roach on that 24/7 before the Sergio fight, or if Nacho was MIA or like, oh, fuck this, and talking bad on him, like kind of familiar situation is Tyson Fury and Peter Fury. So Uncle Peter Fury, right before the Klitschko fight was supposed to happen, before the cocaine, he was doing interviews saying Tyson Fury he's not taking it serious in training camp and not looking good in sparring, and all that turned out to be true because Tyson Fury admits to Rolling Stone he was doing coke and he failed 2 drug tests for coke. So, and his weight wasn't where it was supposed to be. So I'm not really worried about the Chavez Jr. situation because it looks like they resolved it and everything's still intact. Nacho threatened to leave, but he didn't leave and he's still there. So water under the bridge. Next question, Nico Z, Ego. What will happen if Junior pulls off the upset against Canelo? Do you think we'll get a Canelo versus Triple G on September? No. Keep up the good work, and shouts out from the NYC. 1. Yeah, honestly, I said this earlier. If Canelo gets beat by Chavez Jr. and Junior pulls the upset, I really see a rematch because it'll still be big money, especially when there was an upset in the first fight. And I don't see why Canelo, if you didn't want to fight Golovkin before, why are you going to want to fight him off of a loss to Chavez Jr.? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think a rematch would be imminent. Next question, Joshua Placienza. I'm a big fan, Ego, but anyways, thank you. Why is it that Canelo is criticized so harshly for not taking the Triple G fight, even though they only had 15 days to negotiate it, but Triple G isn't criticized for ducking Andre Ward? Now, I don't know from the masses, but I personally have done videos talking about the Golovkin situation. And when I was doing it, this when people were saying Triple G was Mexican style, and really before Canelo and Triple G became an issue. So a lot of those fans at the time, they were riding with Triple G, and they weren't mad at Triple G because let's say Canelo's their favorite fighter. Canelo and Triple G wasn't the target. It was Triple G versus Andre Ward. And when I was doing those videos criticizing Team Golovkin for ducking Ward, they said I was stupid and Bay Area bias and stuff. But now people want to bring it up. It's just funny to me how that works with time. Now that Canelo and Triple G are pitted against each other, you see the fans, and now they're bringing up the Andre Ward situation. But it felt like I was on an island by myself, standing alone, when I was mentioning it as it was happening in real time. Now I'm already over it. I've come to the realization Team Golovkin wanted no smoke, free smoke with Andre Ward. So I'm beyond it. I gave Triple G and his team criticism for that. They said they would peak their head in the division for Chavez Jr. or a guy Ward beat in Carl Froch, but not Ward. So it is what it is. And the other difference is, it's not even, your question to me is not the greatest comparison because they both ducked in a sense, but it was different because Canelo had lineal middleweight titles at middleweight, right? And he gave his belt to Golovkin. Triple G, for his part, to his credit, the Ward situation, they weren't in the same division. Now, there is some hypocrisy, like I just said. He said he was willing to fight Chavez Jr., who doesn't really have an amateur background, definitely doesn't have an Olympic gold medal like Ward, and he wanted to fight the guy that Ward beat, dominated with one hand, Carl Froch, but he didn't want to fight. But the reality is they weren't in the same division, nor did Golovkin hand over his belt when the fight was in negotiations. So I think the timing and that move alone and what Canelo said, like, that all hurt him. It just, so it's going to be criticized different, and I understand it because Canelo was like, oh, cut the bullshit, we Mexican, we don't fuck around. Triple G, hop in the glove, put the gloves on right now. He did all that and gave up his belt. Triple G is on record. There's a video floating around the internet. You guys might have seen it if you're real diehard boxing fans. Triple G, he was like, nah, Andre Ward, he's a good fighter. Andre Ward, he's too much for me right now. So, I mean, he already told you what it was. Canelo was like, let's glove up, let's do this. Let me scrap with Amir Khan. I need a voluntary defense, and then I'm ready for you in September. And that's not the case. So, not the greatest of comparisons to me, but that's, to me, the differences. Next question, Ronald Perez. Ego, now that Rances Bartholomew is at 140, do you think we can see him match up against Crawford? Possibly. They are both orthodox and undefeated. It would be a great fight. Great to see that fight. I agree. Great fight. Biggest obstacle is, we know Bob Arum a lot of times likes to keep things in-house. Now, Felix Diaz is a Lou DiBella, I believe, Heyman advised fighter, so it's possible. Terrence Crawford fought John Molina Jr. I covered that fight live in Omaha. That's an Al Heyman advised fighter, so it's definitely possible, but I don't know. They may go after Ndongo for unification, which will probably be easier to make. I don't even know who Ndongo's promoter is. I don't think Eddie Hearn is his actual promoter. So that's probably a bit easier to make than Rances Bartholomew and Crawford. But you're right, it is a good fight. Next question, Bayron 13. Do you think we're going to get to see the quote-unquote best Canelo to ever step in the ring now that he does not have to drop as much weight? Faster, stronger, smarter, #new media. Certainly possible. Weight matters, like I said earlier in this particular Monday Mail Day. And if he's comfortable at this new weight, you could see a different monster. But on the flip side of that coin, there's also problems with moving up. Even with moving up, he's still fighting a naturally bigger guy, taller, bigger, aggressive, constant pressure, tough, good chin. And sometimes you can gas out. You put on this muscle and stuff, needs more oxygen. You can gas out and things like that. So I don't know. And that's why I'm going to tune in May 6th to see what happens. Next question comes from Josip Jabuk. Do you see Canelo versus Triple G happening this year? I wouldn't hold my breath for it. It's certainly a possibility for September, but we really got to get past May 6th. Golovkin, he got past his last challenge. Some people felt he didn't win. Some people felt he did win, but he made it. The judges felt he won, and he stayed undefeated. So he advances. He's sitting out, so there's no risk in the, like Billy Joe Saunders, a bad performance or losing or anything. So it's possible, but based on the history, I'm not holding my breath. Next question, Camacho family. Is Gabe Rosado still with Fernando Vargas? No, he is not. I think it was amicable, but he went back with his original trainer, the one that was training him with the Golovkin fight, Billy Briscoe. So that's it. Relonomics 101. Ego, love your work. Thank you. Do you think after Ward beats Kovalev, will he fight Adonis to become undisputed? Again, it's possible. I don't know if he would go straight into a unification after probably 2 tough fights, because Kovalev's a good fighter. He was a champion, and now he's a former champion, so it should be a good fight. I don't know if he would do it right away, but that should be in the future something to work to. But realistically, I wouldn't say Ward has to immediately fight him. In fact, Adonis Stevenson, to me, has more to prove with his career, because I said this before, Chad Dawson was the last real big kind of like name that everyone gave him a lot of credit for fighting. And then he's fought some Sakio Bikas and Tom Carpencies, and now he's fighting Fonfara, who's a good fighter, but Fonfara was recently stopped and he already beat him. You know what I'm saying? So I think Adonis is the one that kind of needs to step up. Like, Ward wasn't even in the division, yet he still fought Kovalev before Adonis Stevenson, and those two have been in the division. So it is what it is. Next question. .com show. What's good, Ego? Congrats on 70 racks of subs. Thank you. I've been watching every day since you was at 42,000. Man, you're a real inspiration, bro. Keep up the great work. Always enjoy keeping it 100. But now to my question. Thank you again for that. Do you really feel like Canelo's moving up in weight in this fight? I know he has never had a fight at this weight before, but he is always bigger than his opponents. Is he really moving up? Seems like a way to trick us. I get what you're saying, but the reality is he'll probably still be outweighed by Chavez on fight night from my forecast. So yeah, he's definitely moving up in weight. 10.5 pounds. Who's the last person that you know that moved up quite that much? You know what I mean? Maybe Adrian Broner when he jumped from 135 to 147. That's about a similar jump, right? So there's been a couple. Kell Brook versus Golovkin. There's been a couple that are in that same stratosphere, but you're moving up. You've seen what happened in the Kell Brook fight. Even in the Broner versus Malignaggi fight, that was a split decision win for Broner. So Canelo is naturally bigger than a lot of his opponents, majority of them, and or has more experience and skill set than some of the smaller guys he fought. But he still is moving up. You got to give him credit for the move up. But I do think he'll be more comfortable here because he was outgrowing 54 and kind of killing himself to stay down there. Next question is from Arier Horgo. Ego, love the videos. You're always keeping it a buck. Thank you. Question, since Guillermo Rigondeaux and Terence Crawford both have upcoming fights, I wanted to ask you, who do you think has the tougher style to beat? I.e., who do you think between those two is more beatable? So I guess your question is, who's harder to beat, Rigondeaux or Crawford? That's a good one. I would say Crawford, because per his division, he's usually tall. Like the last time I remember him being someone like taller than him, John Molina, I think was a little bit taller, but in terms of the pure skill and fundamentals, Crawford was like over him in terms of the skill set. And then Victor Postal. So Crawford has a good sized frame. He's tall. Guillermo Rigondeaux is kind of small. I think Guillermo Rigondeaux probably could make 118. So I think Crawford would probably have the harder style to beat, because we haven't even seen him knocked down. We've seen Rigondeaux get knocked down or buckled and stuff. Donaire fight, a Magasaw fight, things like that. So I would say Crawford probably. But they're both phenomenal fighters, and they're both guys that are hard to beat in general. But if that's the question and you wanted my opinion, that's who I would say. Next question, and the final question, is Brian Olia. Ego, best content as always. Thanks. Thank you. Besides money, I feel like the winner of the fight takes home Mexico's bragging rights. Absolutely. Can you tell is your side of things on what at stake between Canelo and Chavez Jr.? Besides, I agree. I think it's beyond that, beyond just like the fight and winning and what your resume is going to show after the fight. It's the bragging rights. This is a territorial fight. It puts me in the mindset. I'm not saying it's going to be the same fight, because skill-wise, I think Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera, both had skill. And I'm not saying Canelo doesn't, not saying Chavez Jr. doesn't, but there were known threats where it was a good fight, and that was the same kind of deal where you had a guy from, I think, Mexico City and the other guy from Tijuana. It's like, rep where you're from, and the crowd was split. So I think this could be a similar type of fight where it's a territorial fight where both fighters from Mexico, and it's like, who's the better? This is a fight that's been talked about for years, and we're finally getting it at a weird point. You know what I mean? Canelo's moving up, but he seems to be getting better after a loss to Mayweather, and Chavez Jr. has had some sideline injuries and inactivity, hurt his hand, legal lawsuits, hasn't been at the weight. So there's a lot of things you can factor in, but he looks focused. Canelo looks focused. So I think aside from a paycheck and status, like whoever wins this fight can easily go on to a Golovkin fight or another big money fight, is just bragging rights, like you said, who is the best from Mexico or the biggest star in Mexico. So stardom is at stake here. May 6th it goes down. Let me know what you guys think. I try to get to a lot of questions this week on Monday Mail Day. Berto Porter, April 22nd, Showtime. That should be a fun fight. You also have the pro debut of Shakur Stevenson on that same date with Top Rank pay-per-view. And then on that card you have Zordo Ramirez versus Max Bursek, and main evented by other champion, who is Oscar Valdez, taking on former Nicholas Walters foe Miguel Mariaga, and that's going on in Los Angeles, I believe, at the StubHub. So fun week, action-packed week of fights. Let me know your predictions. Let me know how you think I did on Monday Mail Day. If I didn't get to your questions this week, try again next week. And that's really it. Monday Mail Day, MMD. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.